Don't adjust your sets, punters. If you were expecting to see the delectable Nat Edwards in this seat, unfortunately, I'm back, Michael Sharkie. How are you?
Indeed, yeah. So I'm glad you're back. Once again, I'm the best-looking person in this segment, so fantastic.
He's trying to say that you were last week as well.
Well, no, not quite.
Don't think so, pal.
No, I don't think so. I can't say I had the honour then. No.
Well, it's good to be back. It's good to see you, and we're going to talk footy in this little segment. But speaking of Nat, as we did at the top of the program, well, let's catch up with her and get all the AFL news for this week. Hi, Nat.
Hi Jake, nice to have you back. Former Port Adelaide captain Matthew Primus has been appointed the Power's caretaker coach for the rest of 2010 following the departure of Mark Williams. Outspoken forward Jason Ackermanis won't return to the Western Bulldogs senior side this week, despite kicking 5 goals in the VFL last weekend, and teammate Barry Hall will miss up to the next 2 weeks after he sustained an ankle injury in last Sunday's win over Carlton. Collingwood look likely to regain skipper Nick Maxwell for Saturday's big clash with St Kilda, while Travis Cloke will miss the next 2 games due to suspension. And finally, Essendon has released a statement refuting claims that coach Matthew Knights was confronted by some players after the side's demoralising loss to Adelaide in round 14. And that's all the footy news for now, guys. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Nat. I tell you what, Mick, I've come back from overseas and nothing could be worse down at the Essendon Football Club. If there's not a revolt against Matthew Knights now, then it's a disgrace.
Well, revolt is fitting since they've been playing revolting football. So
and
a revolt is probably the correct way to go.
They've won 20 games out of 60-something, or thereabouts, since he's been coach. He's made some bizarre decisions along the way, like not playing a ruckman in the finals last year, and playing Michael Quinn, who, with all due respect, probably can't even spell football, can't spell AFL, let alone play the game.
Who's Michael Quinn? Was he the bloke that played in the Legends game, the 75-year-old? Was that
Cobber?
Was that him?
Yeah, well, may as well have been. Cobber would have been more effective, but yeah, baffling. We might as well start off with Essendon because I'm totally off them, as I think everyone is, and they're $1.43 this week against West Coast to a $3.25. How on earth that football team could be $1.43 against? They could be playing against St Mary's second 18. You could be lining up against.
I'll tell you what, we give them a run too the way we're going. And,
yeah, well, you would.
Just quietly, we haven't got a bench at the moment. I reckon we'd still pants them. So
I reckon it'd be even money if you were playing the Bombers.
Oh, no doubt.
143. I mean, West Coast are probably equally dreadful. They put up a reasonable show last week against the Crows, and they don't travel well at all. But $3.25 might be the value of the round. I think.
Yeah, absolutely zero interest in this game from me.
Okay, speaking of teams that are odds on, Geelong is odds on $1.31 against Adelaide for the Friday night game of this week. Adelaide are 4.10 at home. Geelong 131. You don't often see that sort of value, and I think that is something to be taken.
Yeah, mortgage a house and whack it on. You'll have 2 houses by Monday.
And everyone gamble responsibly. Remember?
That's only if you've got a house to mortgage. Of course, if you haven't, then a child would be fine.
Yeah, then miss this month's rent payment. And your boys, North Melbourne, $2.14 against Richmond. I think there'd be some surprise a few weeks ago to see Richmond favourite in a game like this.
Yeah.
Richmond are 185.
Yeah, lay. Kangas will just be hopping and skipping and bouncing all over their little tags, and we'll give them a football lesson.
On what grounds do you say this?
We're North Melbourne. That's the only grounds I need.
So, okay, terrific logic. Thanks for that, Shark. Let's finish off with the Collingwood-St Kilda game, which is arguably the match of the round. In fact, not arguably the match of the round, it is the match of the round. Nat mentioned that Nick Maxwell...
Your man, Nick Maxwell.
He's a detestable human being.
I'll tell you what, you've got something in common with him at the moment. He's got the little chin fungus, and you've got the lip fungus, which has taken you 3 weeks to grow. Congratulations on that.
Thank you kindly. It's certainly not emulating Nick Maxwell. Collingwood at 233, St Kilda 171. I think St Kilda are a good value here. I think they'll win. Rewalt, another game under his belt. 171 looks good value to me. Mick will find out your best bet, and you're in the form of your Betfair Big Spruik. Indeed. Just after we catch up with Nat to get her Betfair Big Spruik for round 16.
The Betfair Big Spruik.
Okay guys, this week I'm going to do another Oz multi. I'm backing the Saints to beat the Pies and Geelong to take the Chocolates over Adelaide. I think that's paying around $2.30 on Betfair. And I've also been looking at the Brownlow odds, and I'm putting a little investment on Luke Hodge there to win at $6.60.
Thank you, Nat. Luke Hodge bet there. Of course, Nat betting with her heart rather than her her head, as is her custom. Mick, just before I get your Betfair Big Spruik, I think it might be worth mentioning some of the long-range markets. The Brownlow medal has really evened up. Nat mentioned Luke Hodge. He's $6.60 presently on Betfair. You won't get a price as good as that anywhere else. Gary Ablett, the favourite, still there at $5.40. Dane Swan, the only other one, under double figures at $9. And Brendan Goddard, who I think represents terrific value.
Mr. Goddard.
Missed last week but comes back in. He's $10.50. And a couple of guys from Freo, Pavlich and Sandy Lane, just behind them. If you were to cast a long-range bet at this stage in the Brownlow, who would it be?
Oh, you got to go with Goddard and Sandilands at those prices, I think.
I agree with you. I think they're the value.
Juicy green grass.
Plenty of value on Betfair. Outside of those, of course, it's the only place you can ask for a price. And the Coleman medal as well is another interesting one because Jack Riewoldt has just gone from strength to strength. He's now $1.48 to win the Coleman medal on Betfair. He's 4 goals in front of Barry Hall, who misses a few weeks. He can really consolidate against your boys. Who will he play on? Scott Thompson?
Yeah, Tomo
probably
just
kick 10
towed
then.
him up. No goals for Jackie
Probably
Boy this week,
10,
I would have
Dragged
thought.
by
half-time.
Geelong and St Kilda, both under $4 as sort of co-premiership favourites. Geelong's slightly in favour there. Mick, what's your best bet? What's your bet for the Big Spruik for round 16, mate?
I've taken an Oz multi earlier in the week, Jake, and I'm just having a bit of trouble remembering who I've taken. I think it was Geelong into Hawthorn against Brisbane, into the Bulldogs against Port, and I reckon I threw in Freo against Melbourne as well. So
terrific, well prepared.
Can't remember the odds, but yes, that's it.
Wonderful. Be following that. It sounds. I'm really convinced. I'm just taking the one bet this week. I think St Kilda is the value of the round at $1.71 against Collingwood. I think they're a class above and they'll win. Mick, thanks for joining me again this week. It's good to be back, and Nat, good to see you as well. Punters, all the best this weekend. We'll catch up with you before round 17.